When you're standing in the kitchen with a slab of steak or a batch of homemade broth, the question that pops up isn't just, how do I store this? But, am I going to waste money on a gadget that ends up gathering dust? I get that hesitation. You've probably seen a few chamber vacuum sealers on Amazon, each promising to lock in freshness, lock in flavor, and lock away the expense of spoilage. The real test is whether the machine actually fits into your routine without turning your counter into a permanent lab. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The LEM MaxVac Pro is marketed as the biggest bag chamber sealer you can find at a consumer price point, and that claim shapes most of the conversation around it. In my research, the biggest concerns people raise are threefold. How easy is it to actually seal liquid-rich foods without a mess? Does the motor handle frequent use without overheating? And will the extra accessories like the rubber gasket and heat bars really make a difference in everyday cooking, not just in the spec sheet? I dug through the available specs, watched a handful of unboxing videos, and read the handful of user comments that do exist to see how those worries play out in real kitchens. First, the chamber design. Unlike a standard external vacuum sealer that clamps a bag to a flat plate, this model lets you place an entire bag inside a sealed chamber. That means you can submerge a bag of marinade meat or a jar of soup without worrying about the suction pulling the bag into the pump. In practice, that translates to a cleaner process for liquids. You just press the liquid button, the machine pulls the air out, then seals the bag while the liquid remains safely inside. People who prep meals for the week or who freeze sous-vide pouches swear that this method prevents the dreaded suction burst that can happen with external sealers. If you've ever watched broth splash all over a kitchen counter because the vacuum pulled the bag in, you'll appreciate that. The motor is a 560-watt, 3/4 horsepower unit. That sounds like a lot of numbers, but what matters is durability under regular use. The MaxVac Pro runs a continuous cycle in about 30 seconds for a standard bag, and the motor stays cool enough that you can run several cycles back-to-back without a noticeable temperature rise. In the videos I watched, a user was sealing a tray of pre-portioned chicken thighs, a batch of frozen berries, and a jar of homemade stock in under 5 minutes, and the machine never sounded strained. The rating of 4.6 out of 5 from over 1,000 buyers suggests that the motor's reliability isn't just marketing hype. Now, about the bag capacity. The largest bag claim isn't just a marketing line. The chamber can accommodate bags up to 1,530 inches, which is enough for big roasts, full-size turkey bags, or even bulk freezer packs. If you're the type who buys meat in bulk and wants to portion it out, that extra space is a real time saver. The included 80 chamber sealer bags are a nice starter pack, but they're also fairly thin, so if you're sealing wet foods you may want to upgrade to a thicker, multi-layer bag after a few uses. That's a minor extra cost, but something to keep in mind. Practical strengths sum up to 3 main points. The ability to handle liquids cleanly, a motor that tolerates frequent cycles, and a chamber size that truly lets you work with big items. Those are the features that separate a decent chamber sealer from a nice-to-have gadget. On the flip side, there are a couple of trade-offs that matter once the box is open. The unit is a countertop-size appliance, meaning you need a dedicated spot near a power outlet. It's not something you'll easily stow away in a cabinet. If kitchen real estate is at a premium, you'll have to plan for it. Also, the 3 preset buttons are handy, but they don't replace the need to understand the sealing time for your specific bag thickness. For very thick freezer bags, you may have to run the cycle twice or manually adjust the time, which can be a little fiddly the first few times. Who should consider buying the MaxVac Pro? If you fall into any of these categories, the machine is likely to pay for itself quickly. Meal preppers who freeze bulk portions, home cooks who experiment with sous-vide or marinated proteins, hobbyists who seal homemade sauces and stocks, and anyone who regularly buys large cuts of meat or bulk produce and wants to avoid freezer burn. The ability to seal liquids without a mess also makes it attractive for people who preserve jams, syrups, or even vacuum pack fresh herbs in oil, who might want to skip it. If you only need to seal occasional small snack bags or you're mostly dealing with dry pantry items, a handheld external sealer will do the job at a fraction of the footprint and price. Likewise, renters who can't dedicate a permanent spot on the countertop may find the size inconvenient. Finally, if you're strictly looking for a